Okay.
All right. Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Talks with Trish. I'm gonna be talking to some of my girls, that are single moms or, in relationships, but they have kids at the house, and just talking a little bit about, quarantine and this lockdown. And I think it's pretty crazy. None of us could have imagined this was gonna happen when 2020 came around. So I just thought, you know what? With something like this that's happening, why not document it, videotape it, and kind of share with the world, share people's different experiences with this. So I'm going to be interviewing some of my girls. And today, my best bitch, my Snapchat hoe, my ride or die. I mean, we've been friends for almost 10 years, I want to say. Which is a long, first of all, we're aging ourselves. So But yeah, we've been friends for almost 10 years. Single mom. She has a beautiful daughter. Her name's Kalila, and she's so sweet and she's so cute. And so everybody say hi. This is Tori.
Hi.
So yeah, that's my first guest. And so first and foremost, Tori, you already know.
You already know. Let me grab my wine.
Yeah. Let me pour out first because we're about to get real. So let me get some wine. Anybody who knows me knows that, this is a necessity these days. So we're going to do a little cheers here before we get started.
What wine are you drinking? What are we going with today?
This is, so, I'm in Canada and they have all this French stuff. So this is called Grand Sud. It's Merlot. It's a Merlot. Red wine. I've been really, honestly, I've been trying to explore with the wine. But recently I've been tasting wines. And so honestly, if you tasted this wine, I think you would be surprised.
Yeah.
That it's actually really bitter. What are you drinking today?
Of course, I'm drinking my Stella.
But you said Stella, so it's kind of sweet, right?
Stella's sweet, yeah.
Okay, so have I had that? Do you know if I've had
that? My favorite is Stella Black. I don't know if you've had it. We've never had it together.
Stella Black. So okay, do you prefer red or white?
I prefer white wine.
Okay.
Probably why I like white men, but that's changing. So anyways.
Not even gonna go there. Okay, so just to put it out there for you guys, since she's mentioning white men, we dated brothers.
We did.
And my I have two kids myself. I'm a single mom, but my daughter's father is her ex's brother. They're triplets. So that is actually how we met. So, they passed on, right, Tori?
Yeah.
They went on
their way.
But they gave us each other. If you're ready, I want to go ahead and cheers before we get started. Once again, thank you so much for being on my Talks with Trish. Cheers.
Cheers.
Delicious, honestly. I wanted to talk to some of my girls and just kind of, document how quarantine's been going. Like everybody, you see online, everybody's like, oh, so great, and we spend time with the kids, and da-da-da. So I'm like, you know what? Let me ask my girls who can give me a true, not social media glamour,
answer.
The real, the true, the good, what's going on at the crib, 7 o'clock in the morning when the kids wake up talking about I'm hungry or I'm bored, but you just rolled out the bed. So how are you bored? Does Kalila do that?
Honestly, oh yeah, she says she's bored all the time. I'm like, you're 3. How do you know what bored is? First of all,
honestly, so this morning Isla wakes up, still crust in her eyes, and she's like, Mom, I'm bored. Girl, go brush your teeth, okay?
Right.
Let's take a shower.
Let's
what do you mean you're bored?
Before you're bored.
Let me ask you this. What's your morning routine with Kalila? Or do you guys have a routine that you've that has it changed from, before quarantine? Tell everybody what you do before quarantine, what you do for a living, where you work, what do you got going on? I don't know if you have a daughter, but you want to go ahead and just let everybody know.
Well, I'm a mommy, single mom. Like you said, I am a teacher. I teach middle school, but I actually got a new job. So I'll be teaching high school biology. I'm a science teacher. So that takes, and I'm a cheer coach. So I do that as well. But my quarantine routine is definitely different from my routine from when I was working. I'm still working, just working from home. So our quarantine routine consists of us waking up whenever we feel like it. I know that's horrible, but we wake up whenever we feel like it. So it's usually about 8-ish. We get ready. She brushes her teeth. She doesn't eat breakfast here at the house because she's still like I can take her to daycare a few days a week. So
might be nice.
Yes, it is. And yeah, so I get her ready. We do her hair. She gets her fruit snacks to go, and we are on our way to daycare where that's where she eats breakfast. So it's an easy morning for me some days, but when she's at home, that's a problem.
Tell us about that tea. That's the tea we want to hear about.
It's the same thing when she knows she's not going to daycare. She's already up like, Mom, what are we going to do? You're going to buy me all new toys? What am I going to do with this toys? I was like, are you serious? Like, no matter what, like, she always wakes up and asks. Mm-hmm.
As if they have like a job or something. Or like, you know when your parents used to tell you like, oh, do you think money grows on trees? And where you think like, da, da, da. And you know, as kids, you're like, oh, whatever. But now I'm like, where do you think I get this money from? Like, money does not grow on trees, my friend.
Right. And she swears it does. And like, she'll be like, okay, are we gonna stop by the donut store and buy donuts for me and all my friends? I'm like, girl, don't stop talking to me and let me go make you this cereal.
I know that's right. Here's the milk.
That's right. Like, you know what? We got a variety. We have a variety. What you want?
Right. Like, do not play with me. Do not play with me. So you said you're working from home. So do you usually work, like, so she goes to daycare, which is nice. You get to have, like, a little break, and you get to actually, like, focus and do work when she's at home. So what do you guys like to do to pass the time?
What I try and do, because quarantine, you're supposed to be at home, but I try and make her fresh air hours whenever I pick her up. So I pick her up and like I'll take her immediately to like a walking trail or something to where she can just rip and run and tire herself out, because that's gonna help me out the most when we get bedtime. Thank God.
Mommy's favorite time.
I love that.
Do not let nobody listen, y'all. Love my kid, but like, bedtime, I think, is probably the best time because it's nice to have a little bit of peace and quiet. The kids are great. But honestly, like, I think I can speak for a lot of moms when it's like bedtime, when there's no mommy, da-da-da. Like, you have one. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, so that's good. Like, you have one. I have two. So it's like, it's not even that they're bugging me. It's that they bug each other. Mm-hmm. And then when they bug each other,
then it bugs you.
That bugs me. Because I'm like, can we stop fighting for 2 freaking seconds?
Right.
It's the games, it's the TV, it's the phone, it's the computer, it's the this, it's the that. And I'm just like, come on, y'all. Like, can I get a moment of like no screaming? Well, clearly it's 3. But have you been able, or have you been trying to like do some stuff with her at home, like school stuff? And she still goes to daycare, which is nice. But when she's home with you, do you try to do anything like school related, or do you?
Up until recently, I was going to school as well. So whenever I do my homework, I give her homework to do.
Okay.
And it's mainly right now just like recognition stuff. Like, okay, do you know that's the letter A? Do you know that's the letter B? All of her colors in English and Spanish, her numbers English and Spanish. And then I try to have her actually like draw something that actually looks like a picture. So I'll give her something to draw and be like, make it look as close to that as possible.
Like, her, because I think for me, one thing that I like worry about is I'm like, okay, well, because we're not at school from like, they go like 7:30 and then they're at school till like 3:30, right? So like that whole time, there's no screen time, there's no TV, there's no accessibility even to it, you know? So for me, like, one thing that I worry about is like, okay, I try to have them do some school stuff, but after a certain amount of time, it's like, okay, we've done everything. We can possibly do. We've gone outside, we've rode the bikes, we've done this, we've done that. And then sometimes I'm like, okay, are they watching too much TV? Like, are they getting too much screen time? Like, do you feel that way? Like, do you
Oh
think-
yeah, I definitely feel that way. And Kalila has just devices. Like, cause I'm a technology person, so we just have devices everywhere.
Mm.
So she has her little thing she calls a portal. She comes and she watches that. But I try and pull her off of those, whether it's to make slime or do a puzzle, which I hate slime, by the way.
Oh God. I think any mom can agree. Slime, honestly, I don't know who invented slime for real, but like they didn't have no kids. They must have, because slime is the devil.
Yeah, we'll do it occasionally, and when we do, it's like a treat for her. So we'll do that. We'll do puzzles. I have a huge puzzle we're working on. She has a big puzzle with big pieces. And we'll do stuff like that. But I do find myself being like, here, take my phone, go in the room, give me a minute. Like,
right.
I do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and see, that's the thing too, why I really wanted to like do this with you, like with my girls and with you and stuff, is because like, though on, you know, social media, whatever, the world about, they're like, oh, do this with your kids and do that with your kids and da da da. But
they're like baking. They're like baking 6 times a day.
Right. I'm like, let's be real. After like, we're on day like 45 at this point. So after like day 13, like 7, let's keep it real. So after like day 7, it's like, okay, really and truly, schoolwork is maybe like 2 hours, maybe do crafts for 30 minutes, an hour. There's only so much bike riding we can do. And it's barely 12 o'clock. We have like a whole day left. So it's like, sometimes it's real easy to just be like, go downstairs, go watch some Netflix, and I'm gonna holla at you in a minute. For you guys, she knows, but for you guys, you don't know. I have 2 daughters, 8 and 4. And so my 8-year-old, she's in 3rd grade, 4-year-old goes to daycare. So before quarantine, you know, it's like 7:30 out the house, gone until, you know, my daughter at 8 would be at school till about 3:30. My daughter in daycare, she's at school till about 6, daycare till about 6. So, you know, pretty much all day's gone. So when they come home, I wouldn't really care if they're watching TV until dinner's ready or until bedtime, you know, dinner's ready, whatever, after homework, because really that's only an hour and a half.
Hour, yeah.
And they've been at school all day. They haven't had no TV. So for me, I'm like, cool, do your thing. But now I feel some type of way. Like, I mean, they still watch, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, okay, like I find myself needing to be a little like creative. Like the other day, we're painting rocks. I was like, let's go collect some rocks.
That's fun though. That's an adventure for them.
Yeah, so we collected the biggest rocks, and then, you know, we came back home, we set it up. The other, you know, we did like, I got some canvases, so we did like the name, like the canvas painting with the tape. Like, you know, so as a parent, I find myself needing to be creative because I'm like, yo, I don't want them to watch TV all the time. I guess I can ask you, what do you do to try to like keep yourself sane, I should say? Because even for you,
what can I say? What can I not say on this show? It's the thing. No, I'm just kidding.
It's no limits. We're good. Like, because like I said, talk with Trish, we're keeping it real.
Keeping it really real. What I do to keep my sanity, for one, I have started, which is good. This is something good coming out of quarantine. I have started meditating. So I've been trying to do yoga and meditate and exercise. Got to keep the figure right, because I put on at
she's
least
like
quarantine 10.
Like, she sends Snapchats and she's working out, and I'm like, shit. What are y'all doing?
And obviously, like, I smoke la marijuana to keep my marijuana.
Everybody has their thing, though, right? Like,
everybody has their thing.
Would you agree that everybody has their kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe like niche?
Yeah, their vice.
Right, their vice. Exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody has their vice. And first of all, weed's legal. Is it legal in Oklahoma?
It's legal. It's legal for me. I have my marijuana card, so
there you go. It's a plant. It's legal. There you go. So go ahead and smoke on.
It is legal.
But I think like that's the thing too, is like even us like having this conversation about like, oh, what can I say? Like there's such a taboo, right? Like there's been this like there's like this cloud over marijuana, like
and I feel like there's an even bigger cloud over marijuana and moms. Like people are like, oh, you can't be a mom and smoke blunts. I'm like, watch me.
But,
You can't be a teacher and smoke blunts. I'm like, I absolutely can.
Right. Because if you couldn't, right, like even just on a technical term, it's legal. Like you're literally not breaking the law.
Right.
So but once again, it comes to this taboo that's been placed over marijuana, and then you add the fact that your mom and add the fact that you're a teacher or whatever, and so people like have these like judgmental things to be like, oh, because a lot of it is from what people think, right? Like what people think happens, or what people think happens because it's a drug. So, oh, you do drugs, which is going to lead you down this path, and you're going to do this, and you're not responsible.
Everything is good, just not excessively. I think that's where we get at. You can't do everything excessively. That's when it starts becoming a problem.
Balance.
Everything in moderation.
Right? You have to have a balance. Like you have to know it's in moderation. There's certain time. You know, like it's not, you know, like from morning to 9.
No.
And, you know, like just messed up all day.
Right.
No, it's like a little, you know, a little blunt in the morning, whatever, start the day, cool, go on, do your merry thing, baby goes to sleep, cool, smoke your little blunt, cool. Right. You know,
and we're talking about normal terms, not quarantine terms, because that's different. That's a whole different thing.
Well,
like normal terms,
right? Normal terms, yes. Quarantine, like I said,
all bets are off. All bets are off on quarantine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we are liable to start like as soon as 12 hits, and by 12 I mean like noon. I'm looking at that wine bottle like, what's that?
Is it time?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere,
right? At
all times. If we're
100%.
keeping it real, it's 5 o'clock somewhere at all times.
100%.
Because we're gonna get the tea. So how is the love? Okay, so for me, for somebody speaking, you know where I'm about to go with this, but let me ask you: for somebody speaking with a non-living quarantine boo, because you know, pre-quarantine, you just do your thing, you know, go to dinner, whatever, right? You know, a little date night here and there. You can actually go out the house, blah blah blah. Great, you know, you have your little boo thing. You guys will live together, so you get to see them whenever you want. But now that we're in quarantine, and you know, social distancing, and everything is closed. So let me ask you, how is the love life?
To be honest, when all of this first started, I like little boo, and we had just agreed that like, hey, we're gonna do this quarantine thing together. Like we're gonna be quarantine buddies, and that's just it. We're not gonna. We didn't social distance with each other or anything because we were with each other from the beginning.
Right.
So,
as it started.
Right, like when it was starting. So we had agreed in the beginning to be quarantine buddies because it was just easier that way. And he lives 2 minutes down the road, so that's easier. But the thing, I feel like the hardest thing about it all is trying to balance like your sanity too. Like even like with the kids, it's like, okay, I can't be like, hey, can you watch Kalila because I have to go do stuff for work. They're gonna be like, you don't work, so you're at home. Where are you actually going? You know,
where are you going? Because you don't gotta go to work.
You don't gotta go to work. You don't got practice. You don't have I don't have homework.
You don't got no homeschooling, nothing.
Nothing.
The work is closed, baby. Where are you going?
Right. So I think the hardest part for me is like dealing with that mom guilt. That like, dang, like I'm leaving.
You have like when you do spend time with your friend, do you have like guilt that you should be at home, or like are you like, do you feel like, oh, maybe I'm putting her in danger? Like,
no, never in danger. I know she's never the people who I let her
not danger. I mean like with the virus. Like, do you feel like,
with the virus? Okay,
if I'm doing this and I don't know, you might come across the corona somewhere.
Yes.
Like, do you feel like, oh, maybe I'm...
Yes, like I do think that a lot. And I still think it a lot, just because when she's going to daycare, she's being exposed to people who are being exposed to people. Then I'm going with Boo, who's exposed to people all day because he's an essential worker. So I'm nervous about that aspect of it, like us catching it, me giving it to her.
Right.
But I just pray about it. because I need what I need.
God is good.
I need what I need.
God is good, honey.
So I am going to
cover his children, honey. Don't you worry. He be covering all his children.
You know?
But no, I feel you. I think like the struggle, like even for me, you already know. I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna give you guys a little quick slip glance of because right now, you know, I just moved back from the States. I'm staying with my parents, and then like boom, this quarantine hit. So I'm here with my parents and my kids. My brother just came back from overseas, but basically I'm here with my parents. So I have, you know, before quarantine, I was able to, you know, pretty much do my thing and go as I please and come home as I please, you know, in a respectful manner, of course. So now it's been a little rough with this quarantine because, for myself, I also think like, you know, I don't want to bring nothing home to my parents, you know,
right.
like they're older, whatever. And then my kids, like, I don't want to bring nothing home to my kids. I want to make sure that everybody's good. Like, I don't want to be the reason, right? Like, we got some shit going on.
Right.
But then again,
that's the part. Yeah. But then again,
like I said, because I am staying with my parents, it's like, and then the kids, it's like after a while, I'm like, right.
I got a little
sack. Like, we ain't gonna make it. We're not gonna fucking make it like this. You know, so it's a struggle. You know,
and I feel like having that type of connection outside of just your kids and your parents and your home, like
it's important.
It's important 100%. Because that keeps you sane. Also, like having adult conversations and like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's so essential. It's essential to mom's mental health.
No, for real, because like I think sometimes people forget, like, you can't be a good mom if you don't take care of yourself. Right. You know? Like, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not in a good space, if you're not happy, if you're not, you know, doing whatever it is that makes you happy at the end of the day, you're not going to be a good mom. So you're going to be cranky and frustrated. Yeah, like, because then you have this, whatever it may be, this inner frustration. And guess what? Listen, like I said, we're keeping it real. I don't care about, like, we're keeping it real. You will get mad at your kids over some frustration that you have about something else because they're there. Like, they might be kicking the ground a little too hard. and now you fussing. You don't got no reason to be fussing, but because you're upset, you're mad about something or whatever the hell is going on, or you don't have an outlet, or you don't have time to take care of yourself, or you don't have time to bring it back down to zero, guess who suffers? The kids. The kids. They're the ones that are always around you, and then that's you let that out on them, and it's not fair to the kids. So for me, you also need to take care of yourself, and sometimes that means adult conversation, a little male attention, you know, girlfriend time, right? Time with your girls, or time by yourself, you know, time to journal, or to meditate, or to literally sit in a room and watch TikTok without nobody talking in the background. I think what the problem is, when you become a mom, people forget that, like, you're still a person. So, like, yeah,
outside of being a mom, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's a part of me. That's not just who I am. Just like when you become a wife or a girlfriend, or you know, you get a new job, you know, your boss is acting crazy. Like, yo, I work here, but this is not all that I do. You know, like when I leave the job, I have X, Y, Z. I'm a mom. That comes first and foremost, of course. But after that, I gotta feel me, baby.
I still need what I need.
Me a little bit, because if I'm not all good up here, we all finna have a problem.
Right. And so I've been praying about it, and because I've been really, really feeling the heavy mom guilt. And so, you know, I'm like, at this point, I'm gonna double up on her Flintstone vitamins. I'm gonna double up on my vitamins. We're gonna slap that mask on. We're gonna do the best we can at this point.
Like you said, to be a good mom, you have to take care of yourself. So let me ask you, has there been something that you've learned about yourself, or that you've noticed about yourself during this quarantine, that maybe like something that you do, or things like habits that you have, or your temperament, or anything that you've really been able to pay attention to?
Not necessarily like with my behavior, but just with who I am as a person. Like, I thought being in quarantine and being away from everybody was going to be so hard, but I'm kind of enjoying it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm learning a little bit about myself, in that I'm not as extroverted as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely realized that I was keeping myself busy and not dealing with a lot of issues. So now that like I have extra time, I have to like deal with those issues and like I have to confront those things because I don't have an excuse anymore. I can't be like, oh, I gotta go here. I don't have anything to do. So now I am forced to deal with my own shit. Yeah, for sure.
To deal with stuff that you were like keeping yourself busy, so you didn't
right.
really
I was like putting it on the back burner, not thinking about it, like out of sight, out of mind. And then like quarantine was like, oh, here I am. You got to think about all of this stuff.
And it's funny that you said that you realized that maybe you're not as extroverted as you thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've noticed how extroverted I am.
You are? Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, yeah.
You're like, I need people.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm about to go fucking crazy. My work, it's I'm a manager at a bridal store, so I can't go to work. I'm not working. So I'm just at home, trying to keep myself busy with the kids, whatever, be productive. But really, like when I'm not doing nothing much, I'm chilling. So even my parents will be like when they just see me chilling, they're like,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah, they're like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Did you have a fun?
Right.
Like, what's that? And I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I'm good. They're like, oh, but like, you didn't say nothing. Like, are you mad?
Right.
So it lets me know. I'm like, yo, like, really and truly, like, people are really used to me being like, because that's just me. I really am an extrovert. Like, so I learned that about myself.
Girl, and me, like, if my phone rings, I'm like, why are people trying to talk to me? Like,
why are you calling me?
Text me so I can text you back later.
Don't call my phone. Stop it. Yeah. Well, one thing with the phone, because like, baby, I know I need to do better. But like one thing I can do, because Tori knows, when something has my attention, like it's cool. Mm-hmm. And then when they don't, I'm like days could go by. Right. it don't even ring a bell. Mm-hmm. But now, but before I could be like, oh, I was working, sorry.
Now it's like,
but now I'm like, but you don't really have an excuse because you'll be at the house. So like, why is you not texting me back? And so now I'm just having to like be a little more honest. I'm like, listen, I just didn't want to.
I just didn't want to. Like,
yeah, I'm like, I didn't really have nothing to say.
Talking about I just didn't want to. Like, I feel like you were asking, like, what have we learned about ourselves? I was talking about telling the truth. During this whole, like, quarantine thing, I have realized that, like, the truth is so important. And just little lies that I've caught myself telling, like, why am I telling that lie? Like, there's no reason for me to lie about that. You know what I mean? So I've been working, like, my personal goal is to just tell the truth to whoever needs to hear the truth, and then they can take it however.
Personal, what do you want to come out of this time? You have to sit with yourself and be like, damn, like, look at the person that you are, what you're doing with your life, what's going on. So what do you think is something that you want to come out
for me? It's always been a thing. Like, I come off as like a super confident person. However, I feel like self-love has always been my struggle. So like that comes along with telling the truth, like being truthful to yourself as well. Like, man, like, you know what, you don't communicate very well, or you know what, you don't deliver that message very nicely, or whatever it is. So I think when I step out of quarantine, I want to be a more centered and connected person to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know what makes me tick. I want to know, like, what makes me purr.
And like at a real level, like not
right, like at a sincere level,
like the core, like the core of niggas. We'll just put it out there.
Yeah, because that's
the easiest.
That's the
You'd be like, oh, I don't like when somebody, takes too long to text me back. So that's the general answer, right? Mm-hmm. But really, at the root of it, it's the feeling of being unwanted, or the feeling of being ignored,
right? Or not having somebody's attention,
like not important, or not getting, like, that's the core issue. So it's not that he took too long to text back. It's that when that happened, you felt, like, oh, this, whatever, like, I'm not important, like, why is he giving me this attention or whatever. So I think, coming out of quarantine, it's good to really be real with yourself, like, understand that, okay, even though maybe that's good or bad or not, but that that's where those feelings are coming from. If that's how you feel, how do we work on that? Like, what do we do to work on that so that it could take 3 days and be like, cool.
Right.
I didn't even fucking notice, because you don't have that feeling inside of like, I'm not good enough, or why isn't it?
Yeah, and it comes from just being okay with number one. You know what I mean? Like, being okay with yourself.
Do you feel like, because of this time, I know, you're working from home, but when you're not working from home, do you feel pressure? I know you've probably seen on social media, like, oh, if you don't have a new skill, if you don't, come up with the freaking next, fucking vaccine for AIDS, or whatever, like, if you don't do something, you're wasting your time, you not shit, blah, blah, blah. So do you feel some kind of pressure to, like, do something, show?
I do. Well, I did at the beginning, and then I made some realistic goals, wrote them down, got those accomplished. So now I'm just like, whatever else is extra.
Right.
But I did feel that added pressure in the beginning, because I'm like, dang, I have all this time. Now, if I don't do anything with it, people are like, well, what did you do with your time? You know what I mean? Like, it's that I feel like I have to prove something to the people who are doing something,
Right.
Like, no, I didn't, sew face masks for everybody. I don't know how to sew. No, I didn't bake every day. I didn't do that. I still don't cook as much as I should. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, some of those things are just gonna be those things. But I can say that, like, I took the time to work on my mental. Hey, and that's the biggest thing.
Nothing is gonna get done. Nothing is gonna get accomplished. Nothing is gonna get to where you want it to be until you're good with you.
Right.
Because if you is not okay, nothing else is clicking. All the puzzle pieces, you have a bunch of puzzle pieces, none of them are going to connect until you is good. Like, you're like the little glue that, like, glues the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you get that glue and you're good with yourself, everything else is going to click.
Like, more of like a fear thing, like, oh, I'm scared to do this and da-da-da. So now with quarantine going on, it's like, we can't be scared because everybody's trying to do something right now. You know what I mean? So I think that's the positive that comes out of it, is like, might as well do it now, because everybody's trying to do something.
People are like, oh, well, I can't do that because there's 10 other people that are doing the same thing, so I can't do that.
Right.
But it's like, what they're doing literally has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Like, nothing to do with you. Like, you do your thing, you're gonna find your market, you're gonna find your niche, you're gonna find your audience, you're gonna first of all, do it for yourself, because you decide, like, for you to have even thought, I want to do that, do it.
Do it.
Whatever comes from it, anybody out there listening, you want to do something, just fucking
do it.
Just fucking do it.
Me and Tori said,
just do it. Is there something that you've noticed about Kalila that you were like,
okay, my child back talks and knows it, and I have never realized it this much. I knew she had attitude, like, because she's super sassy, so I knew that. But as far as, like, she's a quick fire too, so she'll back talk, and whatever she's saying makes so much sense to me, so I can't even be mad. I'll be like, okay,
wait a minute.
Okay, so I don't even be knowing how to respond, because she's so.
I like have a comeback. You don't have no comeback for her. She's
I just be like, I'm gonna spank you, because I don't know what else to do. Quick fire, and she's just like me. So it's hard to, like, discipline her for the shit that I do. So it's a very, we're learning each other. She's learning what mommy don't put up with right now. You know what I mean? Because I feel like at daycare or with my cousin, who she usually stays with, I feel like she gets away with, a little bit more than she should. But now that mommy's home and we can address that, she's like, you're being so mean. And I'm like,
no, baby. But you can't do that. I don't have a son, so, like, I don't know. I can only speak for, like, having daughters and stuff. And because I have two, right, I kind of get two views of myself. Of course, their dad too, but I get the, like, you already know I am.
Yeah.
You already know how she is.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like Isla. She's my younger daughter. She's 4, and I mean the sass came before I had her because the way she came, I already
Oh,
knew.
she came like a
She came
diva.
at her own pace. She was like, "I'm coming today.
Like a
We'll get your mom
diva.
at the airport, and then let's go to the hospital because I'm coming
Mine
today."
too.
So that was from jump. So I knew that from the jump. But as she grows and as she gets older, you know, she's kind of growing into her own personality. And I can really see, I'm like, oh, is that how I act? Is that what I have to do it? Is this? Because, girl, I just been looking at her like, do you want to fight? Or what? Like, do you want to fight? Because the sass, it's like, it's in everything. I think the cutest thing, which makes it cute, is that sometimes the kids don't realize
They're just being themselves. Yeah.
They're just being themselves. Mm-hmm. And so as a parent, you sit back and you're like, oh God, what the fuck? Why is she acting like that? Why is she doing this? She doing that? But then as a kid, they're like, oh, but that's just me. You know, like that's like they don't. That's their personality is to have a little sass and to be a little quick with it. Now, of course, what they're being quick with, we don't like as a parent because we're like, hey, no, you can't come back. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can't tell me that. But for them, as a 3-4-year-old, it's just their natural like, oh, she said something to me, I'm gonna say something back. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, but like you can't do that. Because I'm your mom. And
right.
So to me, it's like I can't even really talk no shit to her because I'm like, oh, that's what I would do.
Right, exactly.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, I would respond like that.
Because, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's what we would do.
Mm-hmm. Right. She can't find her wine. It's okay.
Okay. See, that's my friend. That's my friend. Have you done anything to kind of treat yourself? Like, just something for you. Not the baby.
I've been treating myself a lot. I've just been ordering all kinds of shit. Okay, so mainly food. But this is kind of cool. It's a cool time because like you know, everything's delivering most of the time that the delivery is free. So I've been trying all of the local restaurants that are around me.
Oh yeah.
That's a treat for me because I'm a little chunky girl. I work out, but I love to eat. So I have definitely been treating myself. I'll order something and I'll have it come when Kalila's already asleep so she can't eat it.
I know that's right. Hey, listen, we're keeping it real. I totally understand having her wait and going to sleep. I get it.
Yeah, so that's been my treat for sure.
Me and Tori, I don't want to. I will not use the word basic bitch because we are far from it. Watch out now. Far from it.
Right.
But like if there was anybody else, one thing Tori does like is shoes. She likes shoes, but if there's the nails is like the one thing that we can like really, that's like our like, oh, they gotta get my nails done.
Like, are they the right length? We be looking like those look a little bit longer than last time, but yeah.
I know, like literally she'll notice. Even down to the color. I got real quick before we go, because we're gonna wrap it up soon, but before we go, I had gotten my nails done for Valentine's Day. I had gotten red. This is red. Like shades of red. Different shades of red. And so, you know, I'm like, oh girl, I got my nails done. Because we, you know, we'll show each other our nails. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, what up? Looks a little bright for you. Like, are you sure? Right. And when I told her I was gonna get them red, she was like, are you sure? I was like, are you gonna like that? I don't know. Right. She was like, are you gonna like it? I don't know. And I was like, no, girl, it's good. It's from Valentine's Day. A week and a half in, I'm like, girl, it is time for these nails to go. Because natural, so it's funny. So, like, that's the kind of friendship.
Now we both struggling with no nails.
Girl, no, do you see this? First of all, do you see this? Like,
I'm gonna turn my nails this
when I go to the nail salon, ling, bitch.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Put all the stones. Put all the crystals.
Put it all on.
Give me gel me.
Like, ma'am, can I have that Cardi B? Thanks.
Everything. Like literally, I don't want to see my nails. I want to see stones.
Right.
I don't want to see no nails. I want to see stones on my fingers. At least a week. Like, come on, bruh.
Yes.
Come on. It's been rough. But anyways, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So much fun. Chit-chatting. And I mean, let me be real with y'all. We talk all day, every day. Anyway. We talk about other stuff. So it's been nice to talk about, you know, like sanity and the kids and, you know, mental health and everything. So I really appreciate you coming. And by the way, guys, Tori's going to be coming out with the podcast soon.
Yeah, stay tuned.
I'm going to drop the link down here. I think that's what YouTube will do, down here. I'm going to drop the link so you guys can listen to her podcast and tune in. But help me, round of applause for Tori for being my first guest. And once again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And we will get another mom, another friend's point of view on our next episode. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And Tori, thank you so much. Have a good night. And I will see you next time.
Bye.